Hey folks, welcome back to Naz Life, mixing you another lively podcast from the family of Nazarene Missionary Baptist Church. We're so glad you're joining us as we explore topics, ask questions, and get real about the Christ life we've been dying to hear about. Get comfortable in your seat because this is Naz Life with your host on his post, Larry A. Rasco Sr.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening to our first episode of Naz Life. I'm one of your hosts, Jared Chestnut, a recent college graduate.
And I'm Madiya Farmer, a current junior at Fisk University.
And we're going to get into some topics today that we hope you can take with you, learn along the way, and just listen up and hope you enjoy what you hear. So the first episode is just going to be about high school and preparing for college. So to start things off with, Madiya, in high school, how'd you start preparing for college?
I would say around my sophomore/junior year, I started looking into colleges and kind of trying to fill out like what I want in a school. But I would say like more of it was about preparing academically, like whether that's like taking SAT prep or ACT prep.
For sure.
Courses, just making sure my grades were in order, things like that. Knowing what schools accepted what test or what they needed from me grade-wise or GPA-wise so I could stay on track. How about you?
I guess for me personally, I guess I didn't start actually thinking about college until like started junior year, maybe into sophomore year, summer. So with that, I kind of started off with how far I wanted to go, what my grades looked like, what classes I needed to take, what kind of major I wanted to do, all this that starts piling on like your junior and senior year of high school, which to be honest, I probably should have started earlier, like at least my sophomore year, to get ready for the SAT, ACT, things along that line. Yeah. And how many times are you going to take it? Yeah. Whether you like this score or that.
Because it costs money.
Oh, for sure. And at least 2 times is what I did.
Yeah, same.
Just to take the highest out of the both, but it was stressful because it's like, wow, there's life outside of.
Yeah. So, what would you say, like, behavior-wise, did you start preparing? Like, whether that's, like, extracurriculars or joining clubs and stuff like that?
For extracurricular, I was involved with Link Leader, which is, like, you show around, like, the underclassmen who are going through orientation and stuff, show them around school for the first couple of weeks and things like that. Involved with that. Pride Tribe, where we just make posters for certain events throughout the school year. We meet up in a lunchroom and talk about what's going on. Obviously, I was in sports. That was a big one. And then just choir also. Probably wouldn't expect it from me. But I wasn't the best singer, but it was something.
We need voices.
I was a voice out there, so just being involved is the big thing. What about you in high school? Take me to high school, Madiya.
High school, Madiya. I did choir as well. I also did drama club, so I acted in a couple plays in high school. Also, I was a part of National Honor Society. I went to sporting events, but I didn't. I guess I ran track my sophomore year, and then I did bowling my junior and senior year. And also I danced, but that was like outside of school. So
still being active.
Yeah. So it was just kind of trying to get involved as much as possible to kind of help fill out that college application. Absolutely. So it wasn't like I'm just good at school and grades. I can also like be interested in other things,
kind of
be social and stuff like that.
Big thing was branching out, getting involved. Which even if it's not in school, you could just outside school. I mean, that works.
So when it comes to the school selection process, what went into it for you?
For me, I kind of based it on my personality a bit because at the time I really didn't want to go too far away, but I kind of wanted to go away. Obviously, that didn't work out. As long as I felt comfortable and what felt best for me is what I went by. I started out with top 5 where I wanted to go. Then I kind of looked more into it, narrowed it down to 3 or so, actually applied to those 3, and we happened to be home for me.
Okay.
What about you, Miss Fisk University?
Yeah, so I had a college counseling class at day school where I went to high school, and we had to like make a list of, well, our college counselor gave us a list of schools that like we could be interested in, and then we kind of narrowed it down from there. I think I only ended up picking like one class or one school off the list that she gave me, but it was just kind of to see like what I actually wanted. That actually helped me a lot, because if I didn't look at that list, I probably would have applied to somewhere I didn't really want to go to. So I knew that I did not want to be too far from home, but I did not want to be in the state of Indiana. So I was like, what's not far but close enough? And so I started looking at schools in Kentucky and Tennessee. I looked at maybe one in like Georgia, but I didn't even end up applying to that school. So when it came down, I had a top 3 and I applied to those schools, and it actually ended up being the visitation of those schools that like really solidified my choice, because the school that I had at the bottom of that list ended up being the school that became the top of that list. So that's how I ended up at Fisk. I was like, well, I kind of want to do the music business thing. Nashville's called Music City. Why not go there?
Perfect match right there.
Yeah. And the culture of Fisk campus, like, it just really felt like home. So
that visit changed everything.
Yeah, the visit changed a lot.
So, getting ready to apply for college and got your list, top 3.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the help? Like, who do you go to?
Like I said, I had my college counselor, but I also leaned a lot on my family. Like my older brother and my mom, they both went to HBCUs, and so I guess that kind of helped lead me in that direction of looking at an HBCU, because originally I said I wasn't gonna apply to one because they both had one, and I just wanted to be different. But it ended up being the choice for me. So I guess listening to that family influence, and then also having the help from my college counselor to like give me suggestions of possible schools I could look into. What about you?
Well, obviously I also had my counselor. Family was a big one. Mom and dad both went to Indiana State, so that's where I thought I wanted to go. Like, I just wanted to follow their footsteps a little bit. Also, my older brother too, he was at UE, and I was thinking like, oh, I want to go far, I want to get away, I don't want to do but like something was telling me you don't want to do that. Just stick to what you know, and that's what my counselor helped me with, to find out what fit best for my personality, what I wanted to do later on down the line as for a major and things like that, and just what fit best for me overall. Just happened to be. How's the good?
So like once you made that decision, had to think about, well, how am I gonna get there? Like, how am I gonna pay for it? So when it came to scholarships, what did you look for?
Well, first off, with scholarships, I always try to avoid the ones where you had to give a presentation. Obviously, I couldn't do that. My counselor was not going for that, so I had to sometimes give a presentation on what I needed to do with the money, well, how is it going to help me, and things along that nature. So I tried to avoid that. Just go on websites. Counselors are a big help, even teachers, because you're going to need some recommendations, and that goes back to your behavior. You're going to need to be. You need to. Be on your best behavior with those teachers, because don't burn that bridge.
Don't burn that bridge, because you don't know who you're gonna need to write a letter from. It could come back to bite you. Yeah.
So I had those two helping me out with recommendations and things along that nature. Essays, having teachers and other higher adults in education help me out with reviewing it before submitting it, and then just going through a list. Even if you don't think you'll get it, just apply anyway, because who knows, you might shock yourself.
100%. For me, I wanted to get as much money like from the school that I could get. So that kind of went back to my academic preparation. Like I knew I had to get good grades and do well on those tests if I wanted to qualify for certain scholarships from the school. And then also like application deadlines was a big thing as well. Like if you got in your application at a certain time, you might be considered for a certain scholarship at the school. So I was able to get an institutional scholarship that covers for the 4 years. And then but I still had some costs like my room and board and meal plan and stuff like that. So for those scholarships, I looked online for some. Since I do attend an HBCU, I was able to use UNCF as a resource. I used a lot of local scholarships like the church scholarship, sorority scholarship, stuff like that. So
big one. Yeah,
I was able to get money through that. And I would also just like, one thing that my mom really like pushed was like, apply for something even if you don't think you're gonna get it, because you could, or even if you don't think you necessarily qualify, because there could be like not enough applicants or not a lot of applicants. Your application could stand out and they'll be like, hey, you can have this money. So I like, and the thing is that a lot of people, they're like, oh, there's free money out there, and you're like, whatever, like I'm only one person, but you should apply, especially if they're like giving out multiple awards. Like,
absolutely.
Definitely just apply, because you never know, and then it could help you pay for stuff. So
because in the end, every dollar counts.
Every dollar counts. 100%. So I guess to wrap everything up, just to summarize what we talked about, we talked about the academic and behavioral preparation, like getting involved, making sure your grades are in check.
Don't burn any bridges.
When it comes to building those relationships with your teacher. And then when it comes to school selection, kind of knowing how you fit into the school's like culture / atmosphere, kinda knowing how far you want to
kind of go by your personality. It'll help you a lot.
Right, because if you're like a person who went to a small school, a big college might not be the best for you. You might like get lost.
If you're that outgoing, just don't care kind of type.
Right, then maybe a big school is for you. I mean, right, and then also like know how far you want to be away from home, because homesickness is a thing.
Yes, it is real.
And then for the third one, just when it comes to scholarships, definitely lean on like your school like counselors or your teachers to possibly recommend you for stuff, or just be like, hey, I think this fits for you.
Or just any adult that's been there, done that.
Yeah, that's very true.
And with that, every dollar counts.
Every dollar counts, yep.
Also, and with that, thank you for listening to episode 1
of the Naz Life Podcast.